us tonight. I'm Beth Jones. 2 years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, delivering the issue of abortion from a federally protected right to an issue now decided on a state-by-state basis. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard spoke with Planned Parenthood of Northern New England to learn more about what changes we've seen here in Maine and where we are possibly heading.
The U.S. Supreme Court sent our country hurtling into a healthcare crisis.
Lisa Margulies, Vice President of Public Affairs for Planned Parenthood of Northern New England, is talking about the U.S. Supreme Court's Dobbs decision, which stripped the federal reproductive protections that Roe v. Wade put in place for over 50 years, and instead put the status of reproductive rights back in the hands of individual states.
And luckily here in Maine, we've seen legislators act in line with what the people want, which is to keep reproductive health care safe and legal and accessible.
In the 131st Maine legislature, lawmakers passed multiple bills to protect and expand reproductive rights in Maine, including LD 1619, which removed language regarding viability in Maine's abortion law, and LD 227, which is known as a shield law, to protect anyone receiving an abortion or reproductive care in Maine from being prosecuted by out-of-state actors. But Margulies says lawmakers fell short of sending the issue of abortion to November's ballot.
So this past legislative session, lawmakers in Augusta denied the people of Maine the opportunity to vote on whether to enshrine the right to reproductive autonomy in our state constitution. But of course, voters will not be denied their right to cast ballots for who they want to represent them in the next legislative session.
With not only all 186 state legislature seats up for grabs, but also Maine's 2 congressional districts, one of Maine's U.S. Senate seats, and the U.S. presidential election this November, Margulies says this election is more important than ever.
We know that extremists won't stop in their attacks, not just on abortion, but reproductive health care writ large. That's birth control, that's IVF, that's all the care that pregnant people need over the course of their pregnancy. We also know, again, that over 80% of Americans believe abortion care should be legal.
We reached out to the Christian Civic League for comment and did not receive a response. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The State Fire Marshal's office is now investigating a fire in Milo that left one person dead. Crews were called to a garage workshop located next to a home at 61 Elm Street a little after 4 a.m. Sunday. A spokesperson for the Maine Department of Public Safety says they found human remains inside. The deceased has been tentatively identified as 76-year-old Dwight Russell, who lived at the property. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner will confirm the identity. The fire is still under investigation. A Presque Isle man is dead following a shooting in Aroostook County. Maine State Police say on the evening of June 20th, major crimes detectives responded to a shooting incident on West Manland Road in West Manland. 2 days later, 22-year-old Brandon Belanger of Presque Isle died of his injuries. The case and circumstances remain under investigation by the Major Crimes Unit North, but state police say there is no danger to the public. Additional information will be released as appropriate. And a Bangor man has been arrested after allegedly threatening someone with a knife. Police say they responded to the area of State and Harlow Streets at about 2:45 p.m. Saturday afternoon after a person called 911 about a man armed with a knife who had allegedly made direct threats to kill him. The alleged victim ran from the man, and that man was later identified as 40-year-old Stephen Rue. Rue was located and taken into custody. The weapon described by the victim was located and seized. Rue was taken to the Penobscot County Jail and charged with criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon and assault. Well, last fall, the Newburgh Fire Department unveiled a brand new fire station after Senator Susan Collins secured $1 million in congressionally directed spending. The senator returned to the fire station today to see how the improvements are impacting the community, and our Grace Blanchard was there.
This building is just amazing compared to where we just come out of.
After opening their brand new fire station last fall, Newburgh's fire chief says the new and improved building has made a huge impact on their team.
The guys are just, now they can't wait to get here. They can't wait to come in and help out, clean, do some stuff, hang out, and without this, that would not be possible.
He says their previous building was in such disrepair it became a health hazard.
A lot of black mold It was coming out from the ceilings, the walls. Health-wise, it was a huge concern for the guys.
The fire chief says they never would have built a new building without the $1 million secured by Senator Susan Collins, who got a chance to visit the facility on Monday.
I'm so proud of the work that our first responders do, and any way that I can help them and improve public safety really means a lot to me personally.
The senator says addressing first responder work shortages is a top priority for her.
As the experience of this community shows, if you have better equipment, if you have a good little kitchen off the side, if you have a decontamination room, people are much more likely to volunteer.
The fire chief hopes to see more efforts like this for other stations across the state.
I'm hoping that it even helps out with other towns that are thinking about maybe starting processes like this and getting things moving forward. They got to do it.
In Newburgh, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Senator Collins also made an appearance on the University of Maine campus today for the start of the Cohen Institute's High School Leadership Program. The Cohen Institute launched the program in 2019 after seeing a lack of leadership courses for high school students in Maine. Rising seniors from across the state were selected to participate. Organizers say it aims to immerse them in both the theory and practice of leadership.
Part of this week really is about not only aspiration and inspiration, but the big thing we talk about is perspiration, working hard.
I hope also that I might inspire some of them to get involved in community service, to run for office, and to envision themselves as policymakers.
Well, throughout the week, students will also earn early college credit by completing a course that introduces them to the fundamentals of leadership studies. The program is free for students, and anyone interested in joining next year must be a rising senior and nominated by their high school. In town of Vinyl Haven say they're frustrated following recent cancellations of ferry trips to and from the mainland. Our David Ledford took the ride out to the island to see what residents are saying and how the state is working to address that issue.
If I don't have that basic service, I can't survive here.
Over the past couple of months, the Maine State Ferry Service has canceled dozens of trips on its Vinyl Haven route.
This is a really serious problem out here.
Those we spoke with in Vinyl Haven say they rely on the ferry because it's the only consistent way to get on and off the island, which is why trip cancellations can lead to issues in their everyday lives.
If the groceries don't come in on time, I don't get the foods I need. We have medical appointments, we have events, we have businesses to run.
Maine DOT Representative Paul Merrill says Vinyl Haven is impacted more than other islands the ferry serves because of staffing issues.
Vinyl Haven has 2 fully crewed vessels that serve it. When we get to a point where staffing becomes a challenge and we need to cancel a run, we go down to 1 boat.
Merrill says the rest of the routes are making 98% of their scheduled runs. In the short term, the ferry service will be using a staffing agency to help meet the Coast Guard's federal safety regulations for staffing.
By no means is anybody completely cut off because of these disruptions, but it is disruptive, it is impactful. We're working to try to explore multiple options.
However, business owners are concerned that their summer revenue will be impacted by further cancellations.
We have people coming who have made arrangements beforehand to spend the night, and if the ferries aren't running, they won't be here.
Long-term, Merrill says the DOT is looking to hire more permanent crew. And Merrill says the Mills administration has worked to raise wages in recent years, but further increases would likely mean a rise in ferry rates, as 50% of operations are funded through customer fares. In Vinyl Haven, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Alrighty, folks, well, let's go ahead and hit pause here, peek outside, and get a first check of our forecast.
All right, Beth, thank you. Your first weather is brought to you by Acres Away Real Estate. Located at 309 West Broadway in Lincoln, call Alan, Bobby Lynn, or Kara to help guide you through the buying or selling process. 794-2700. Let's talk about the weather and temperatures. A bit cool. Millinocket, 68 today, 74 over here in Bangor, 77 Bar Harbor. So comfortable but cool with some clouds around and also some rain showers throughout the afternoon. Those rain showers are now falling apart, and tomorrow is going to be a very nice summer-like day with temperatures back back up in the 80s throughout the afternoon, and also probably for Wednesday before our next rain system gets in here on Thursday. Our forecast though for tonight though is still some scattered rain showers out there, nothing heavy, with low temperatures down near 60. Your full forecast is coming up.
Alrighty, thank you, Jeff. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, our Doug Banks talked with two lifelong educators from Blue Hill who are getting ready to unveil their new business. And a charity golf scramble was recently held to raise money to support the UCP of Maine's Elizabeth Levinson Center. All of those stories and much more as Fox 22 News at 10 continues.
Up in Smoke Fireworks is family owned with a huge selection including Brothers and Showtime, Time Bandit, and Black Hat brands. We will share our knowledge with you, then go have a blast. Up in Smoke Fireworks, 173 West Main Street, Searsport.
When we say it'll be on time, they expect it to be on time.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep those expectations with reliable ground shipping.
Thanks, Brandon.
With USPS Ground Advantage. Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do. Day in and day out. Making milk you can trust, with no artificial growth hormones. And we protect Hood milk with our light block bottle. We care about our milk because we know how much you care about what you give your family. So you can feel good about Hood.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs, Iberogast helps relieve 6 digestive symptoms to help you feel better. 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature. Iberogast.
Dine on the deck with a delicious view at the Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub. Experience outdoor dining at its finest. Open Tuesday through Sunday with award-winning dishes from their executive chef, Arturo Montes. Dining on the deck at Ryan's Pub is an unforgettable culinary experience you'll want to share with your family and friends. We are pet-friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table. Your next visit to the Lucerne Inn will feel like the first, all over again.
It is season 7.
It's the musical game with the bestest prize. Beat Shazam, all new Tuesdays on Fox.
Up in Smoke Fireworks is family owned with a huge selection including Brothers and Showtime, Time Bandit, and Black Hat brands. We will share our knowledge with you, then go have a blast. Up in Smoke Fireworks, 173 West Main Street, Searsport.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, despite the rain, folks still came out on Monday for the annual Realtors of Maine Golf Scramble to benefit the UCP of Maine. Plus, Monday marked 2 years since the repeal of Roe v. Wade. We'll hear from Planned Parenthood, Northern New England, about what's changed in Maine since then. These stories and more coming up.
The city of Augusta needs hundreds of housing units to meet the needs of its senior population. That is according to the city's housing authority, which is helping to finalize a new affordable housing project. Officials hope it's part of a bigger solution. Owen Kingsley has more.
Construction is expected to begin next summer on a new 34-unit apartment building right here on Malta Street and right next to the Hodgkin School Apartments. This 55-plus affordable housing project is the latest in an effort to help those with fixed incomes take on the housing crisis.
It's sort of a drop in the bucket, but every drop in the bucket that developers make adds up to meeting the need.
These 34 units will be reserved for seniors making 60% or less of the area's median income. Monthly rent is projected to be between $900 and $1,000.
The vacancy rate is near 0%. These housing units, affordable units for seniors, there's almost no greater need in the community.
The Augusta Housing Authority says they participated in a 2021 study that found the city needed more than 800 affordable housing units, about half of those specifically for seniors.
We have such an unmet need in this area.
$20 million was reserved from the state's supplemental budget to build affordable housing. The Augusta Housing Authority says they have never seen so much state money allocated for this effort and expects to see more projects like this one soon.
In a few years, we're going to see a lot of projects come online with all of this new money.
Augusta city officials are setting their eyes next on the former police station on Union Street.
We will be very excited to make some important announcements about affordable housing at that location.
That announcement is expected next month. The apartments on Malta Street are expected to open by the end of 2026.
And that was Owen Kingsley reporting. Meanwhile, older residents in the Calais area will be able to get resources a bit closer to home. A ribbon cutting was held today for the new Eastern Area Agency on Aging access point located at the Calais United Methodist Church. Those who attended also got to tour the facility. It will be a hub for a variety of agency services, including Meals on Wheels, the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, Furry Friends Food Bank, and the Community Cafe. It will also offer in-person resource appointments, Medicare education classes, and wellness programs as well. Definitely a welcome addition there. Well, over in Blue Hill, two lifelong educators have opened a business together. Our Doug Banks takes us to Devil's Half-Acre Beer Garden, where the owners say it's a place where everyone can find a little piece of home.
Tucked inside downtown Blue Hill, two lifelong educators are now on the first page of a new chapter in their lives.
One guy yesterday said, you know, the thing about this place is nothing matches, but everything matches.
Becomes like a living room of sorts. It's just a great place to relax.
Mark Hervit worked in education for 41 years. The last 15 spent as the superintendent of School Union 93. And while his wife, Tracy Lemire, continues to teach at the Adams School in Castine, Hervit is replacing his textbooks with pint glasses.
This barn had no water, no sewer, no lighting, and it did not have a bar, obviously. Open for business.
Devil's Half-Acre Beer Garden is named after what they're surrounded by. The barn sits upon land that's long been known as Devil's Half-Acre. It is now literally a beer garden that grows flowers and beer.
I think the first day that we opened, we're like, people are actually coming in and sitting down, but it starts to feel like home.
What's it like to work here?
It's one of the best experiences in my 43 years of existence. They built a community here for the community. I feel like a lot of places here are going through the motions, but this is a family-based place that's trying to make everybody feel like they're at home.
This is a place where everybody can feel comfortable and just relax and just be and experience a point in time.
And we'll just see where this thing leads us. You know, we'll just see.
To learn more about the Devil's Half-Acre Beer Garden, visit our website, foxbangor.com. In Blue Hill, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, the country braces for what might prove to be a pivotal week for the Supreme Court as we await a number of important rulings. And two astronauts aboard the International Space Station had their return home delayed after some issues with the Boeing Starliner capsule. Well, those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Make this a summer to share and save during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event in one of our capable SUVs. This summer, visit your local Kia dealer and save. Get 1.9% APR for 48 months plus $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged 2024 Sportage and Sorrento vehicles.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
Someone needs to customize and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Wait, there's an elevator? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Feeling from a backed up gut? Miralax works naturally with the water in your body to help you go. Free your gut and your mood will follow. For 8 grams of fiber, try Mirror Fiber Gummies.
At Hood, our love for New England inspired New England Creamery. We make it with premium Hood milk and cream, then we overload it with the good stuff. Like Green Mountain Mint chip with a rich, fudgy swirl. Maine Sweet Blueberry with real, delicious blueberries. And Cape Cod Fudge Shop, packed with fudgy truffles. Hood's New England Creamery. From Hood, for New England. Try all 10 flavors.
Saving for higher education for my kids is super important to my husband and me because we obviously want to give them opportunities to explore whatever their passion might be. I kind of consider it as a non-negotiable. I have to pay my electric bill, I've got to pay my heat bill, and I'm going to put money aside for my kids' higher education.
To learn more about NextGen 529, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, read the program description at nextgenforme.com. Check if your home state has a 529 plan that offers tax or other benefits.
Make this a summer to share and save during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event in one of our capable SUVs. This summer, visit your local Kia dealer and save. Lease a specially tagged 2024 Seltos LX for $189 a month.
If you've been injured, call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Israel's prime minister says he will only accept a partial ceasefire deal that would not end the war in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu also says the current phase of fighting in Gaza is winding down. That would free up troops to confront Hezbollah terrorists in the north. Fox's Trey Yingst reports.
All eyes are on northern Israel as the country braces for another large war. The Iran-backed Lebanese militant group Hezbollah continues to launch daily drone and rocket attacks. Israeli officials say they're wrapping up offensive operations in Gaza, something that will allow them to shift their focus to the northern front.
After the intense phase is finished, we will have the possibility to move part of the forces north, and we'll do this, first and foremost, for defensive purposes.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu overnight said he would not accept a complete ceasefire in Gaza, a position at odds with the American-backed plan to get some of the remaining 120 hostages freed from Hamas captivity. He later walked back those remarks. As the war in Gaza winds down, Israel is still launching large airstrikes in heavily populated areas, killing dozens of Palestinians this weekend, according to a local hospital director. Netanyahu has clashed with the Biden administration in recent days about the Americans withholding weapons shipments over concerns about the rising civilian death toll in Gaza. Israeli officials say those weapons will be needed in case of a larger regional war. A source with knowledge of ongoing talks to avoid such a conflict tells Fox News that Qatar has been engaging Israel and Lebanon to de-escalate. Those attempts have been coupled with American efforts to do the same as Israel's defense minister visits Washington, D.C.
In areas where we have disagreements, we discuss everything in detail and reach agreements and solve issues.
Israeli defense officials described Gallant's meetings as impactful as he looked to strengthen relations with the United States. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
The nation is bracing for what could be a monumental week for the Supreme Court. We are waiting on several high-stakes rulings, including decisions on abortion access, social media and free speech, and the opioid epidemic. But of course, the biggest of all that the justices say will be the case for the ages is the question of presidential immunity. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the latest from Washington.
The Supreme Court's summer session is nearing its end, but more than a dozen cases remain undecided, including one that could have a profound impact on the presidency. The justices are still weighing whether former President Donald Trump is immune from criminal prosecution for actions he took while in office, a case that stems from the Capitol riot on January 6th.
The court has always shied away from sort of tackling this issue. They now have to, and that means they have to get it right.
The court never gives advance notice on when specific rulings will be released, but it's possible this decision comes out just hours before the first presidential debate.
Nobody's going to be watching the debate on Thursday night, right? Nobody? Will anybody be watching?
While President Biden has certainly campaigned off Trump's legal issues, ahead of the debate, he's keeping the abortion issue in the spotlight. out with a new campaign ad on the second anniversary of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade.
Decades of progress shattered just because the last guy got 4 years in the White House.
The justices still have yet to rule on another abortion-related case this session, whether doctors in states with restrictive abortion laws can be forced under federal law to perform the procedure in a medical emergency.
The government should not be telling women what to do with their bodies.
That decision will likely come this week, along with rulings on other high-profile cases related to social media regulations and free speech, homelessness, and the opioid epidemic. On Monday, the Supreme Court announced a blockbuster case it will hear in the fall over state bans on gender transition medical care for minors. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
2 astronauts are staying at the International Space Station longer than they planned while engineers work out some issues with their Boeing Starliner capsule. This as NASA scrubs today's spacewalk due to a spacesuit coolant leak. Fox's Connor Hansen has more from New York.
2 astronauts were planning to come back to Earth about a week ago, but they could be staying on the International Space Station until July. While they wait, experts at NASA are looking into some helium leaks and testing the thrusters on their Boeing Starliner spacecraft.
They are small leaks. They're about 1/100th of what they can be tolerated.
The launch tends to be very violent, lots of G's of acceleration, lots of vibration going on, and that usually causes something to not work perfectly. And in this case, the helium leaks, the failed valve, and the 5 reaction thrusters were the big things that didn't work right.
NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore launched from Cape Canaveral on June 5th. The flight was meant to test Boeing's Starliner so it could be used regularly to send crews to space. Before the Starliner launched, it was delayed twice for technical issues, including a small helium leak.
This is the first crewed mission of the Starliner, and you have to get the kinks out.
It's certainly safer for them to run these tests now before it undocks and needs to come back through the very harsh ride through the atmosphere.
All this while Boeing is under fire for unrelated technical issues with its commercial airplanes. Its CEO was grilled by lawmakers just last week.
Boeing, I think, is too big to fail, but it's not too big to be mediocre.
For now, NASA says the astronauts have plenty of supplies and are in good spirits. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Well, now the European Union is filing charges against Apple, accusing the tech giant of stifling competition under Europe's new anti-monopoly law. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more from New York.
For the second time in less than a year, Apple is facing a major antitrust lawsuit. This time, it's coming from Europe. Regulators accusing the tech giant of imposing unfair restrictions on app developers, making Apple the first company charged under the recently passed Digital Markets Act, which gives European lawmakers broad authority to rein in big tech when it gets too big.
App gatekeepers, basically developers, should be able to steer consumers to alternative offers, cheaper options outside of the App Store.
The main issue is the way in which Apple allegedly limits how companies communicate with customers about content not available through Apple. The EU says that amounts to unfair stifling of the competition, and if they rule against the company, fines could reach into the billions.
Apple will now have the possibility to analyze and assess this documentation provided by the Commission. If our preliminary findings and concerns are confirmed, then we could go to fines.
But Apple is rejecting those allegations, claiming its products are designed to maximize the customer experience, and writing in part, quote, throughout the past several months, Apple has made a number of changes to comply with the DMA. We are confident our plan complies with the law.
You can buy any of the products that you want. No one's making you buy Apple products.
The Justice Department filed a similar lawsuit against Apple back in March, accusing the company of anti-competitive behavior when it comes to app developers. In New York, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
And folks, stay with us. There is more to come.
The Quiz with Balls, all new Tuesdays at 9, 8 Central on Fox.
You've always known what you wanted, no matter how far down the road it looked. We're here to help you get there. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. Our stable lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Finding the right vehicle for you and your family can be a daunting task. At Varney Buick GMC, our expert staff is here to make the journey as painless as possible. Our goal is to get you and your family in a vehicle that will best fit into your lifestyle. Communication is key, and our team makes sure to be completely transparent throughout the process, informing you on all of your options. Come experience Varney value, only at Varney Buick GMC.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
You've lived quite a life. Now, it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
There may be trouble ahead for the electric car industry. A new survey indicates nearly half of EV owners want to switch back to traditional vehicles. Fox's William Lajeunesse tells us what exactly that means.
Come on, jump in and give you a ride to Washington.
Even a sales pitch from President Biden and massive subsidies can't rescue the EV market.
EV values and EV market has dropped substantially. Like, you could use the word collapse here.
EV sales jumped from 2% of new cars sold in 2021 to 8% last year, but nosedived in the first quarter of 2024 for a variety of reasons, including buyers watching EVs die in freezing temperatures.
Once you take a car off the lot, an electric vehicle is depreciating 50% of its price, compared to 6% depreciation of an internal combustion engine vehicle.
A recent McKinsey report says nearly half of U.S. owners would likely switch back to a gasoline-powered car if given the chance.
For electric vehicle owners, it may cost just as much or more to charge their vehicles than it would be to purchase gasoline.
That's especially true for fast chargers when you can find one.
You see a lot of consumers that have both price anxiety and range anxiety.
AAA also found declining interest, with 2/3 of buyers saying the next car they buy will not be electric.
We just need a couple of minor little sort of milestone improvements in battery technology and efficiency, combine that with the infrastructure, and that comes together and it's going to take off like a rocket.
Another question, how long can manufacturers hold on? Fisker last week declared bankruptcy, with Rivian, Polestar, and Lucid burning money. Ford says it's currently losing $100,000 on each EV sold. Dealers tell me there are buyers for EVs, a second car, big cities, short commutes, but for others, families, suburbs, rural areas, older buyers, even government handouts can't overcome their skepticism. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News. Well, the average gasoline price in Maine has fallen 1 cent per gallon in the last week, averaging $3.39, according to Gas Buddy's survey of a little more than 1,200 stations in Maine.
Prices in our state are 15.1 cents per gallon lower than a month ago, and they stand 21.6 cents per gallon lower than a year ago. The national average price of diesel has risen, though, 2.4 cents in the last week and stands at $3.76 per gallon. Well, over 100 golfers attended a charity golf scramble in Bangor to benefit a local care center. The weather might not have been perfect, but the golfers still had a great time for a great cause. The Great Bangor Tours hosted their 4th annual charity golf scramble to raise funds for the UCP of Maine's Elizabeth Levinson Center, an assisted living center in the Bangor area. Participants were charged $100 per entry or $400 per team.
The Elizabeth Levinson Center today because we have members of our realtor community that have family members that have lived there or have friends that have lived there, and it really has touched a place within their hearts.
All funds raised by the event will be matched by the Greater Bangor Association of Realtors. Donations and fees are still being tallied up, but a grand total will be announced by the association at a check presentation scheduled for the fall. So we hope they raise plenty of money. Alrighty, folks, will stay with us. Our full 5-day is on the way.
The rain showers out there now will wind down tonight, followed by 2 very nice summer-like days with temperatures in the 80s around here, but then some changes. More on that when I come back.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
At the Toyota Summer Sales Event, savor that great deal from the longest-lasting brand. You could get 1.99% financing on most Tundra, hybrid, and gas models. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Spring is here. And now is the time to call Hickory Dickory Decks for your new deck, sunroom, or enclosed porch. They specialize in custom outdoor living and making your dream oasis a reality. See for yourself how Hickory Dickory Decks can transform your existing porch into a 3-season Sunspace sunroom. Call Hickory Dickory Decks now for your free estimate. And enjoy life outdoors.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are $0 and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save, even if you don't think you qualify. It pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. The money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do it.
Major League Baseball all season long on Fox.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
It's a culinary battle of the ages.
Gen Z.
Which generation is going to win it all?
MasterChef Generations. All new Wednesdays on Fox.
Here we go. Your full weather is brought to you by Big Pine Painting, the #1 family-owned and operated painting company serving Bangor and the Belfast and surrounding areas. For all your paint, drywall, and pressure washing needs, here we go. Let's talk about the weather, and we're going to go for temperatures first. This is the map from May, and May came back as the warmest May on record globally. So that's land and ocean temperatures on this map. Red is above average and blue is below. A lot of red during the month of May. For us today, a bit below average in Millinocket, 68, 74 here in Bangor, Stony Bar Harbor. You get the idea, kind of a cool, cloudy with some rain showers across the area today. That will not be the case tomorrow as warmer temperatures are on the way. Still this huge heat dome across the Midwest right now in the plains. It's going to slowly slide this direction, but overall we'll do some low to mid 80s tomorrow, also on Wednesday, followed by probably some cooler temperatures over the weekend. As the overall trend though keeps us above average in temperatures into early parts of July. So so get ready. More heat is on the way, especially for tomorrow and also on Wednesday. The wind out there today, not too big of a factor. Right out of the north, around 10 to 15 miles per hour. This actually will come down a bit tonight, but there is a small craft advisory out there as well, as there is some wind across the area currently that will fall apart tonight. We could actually get some areas of dense fog later on tonight into early parts of tomorrow morning. Until then, though, here's that small craft advisory for wave heights out here approaching 5 to 7 feet through about midday tomorrow. There are some thunder showers out there now. Now, nothing heavy or severe, but there are thunder showers out there now. They're going to fall apart tonight into tomorrow morning and then leave us with a very nice day tomorrow. There's an upper level low in here right now, kind of giving us those shower activity across the region currently. That is going to go that way, and we are in a good spot for tomorrow and also for Wednesday until our next weather system gets in here later on Thursday, and that could bring us some locally heavy rainfall once again. So system 1 gets out of here. Here's tomorrow about 7 o'clock or so. Lots of clear skies and sunshine tomorrow. Then increasing clouds late tomorrow night and throughout the day on Wednesday. Maybe a couple sprinkles on Wednesday before. You saw that, right? Some heavier rain showers get in here on Thursday into Thursday night. And that rain could look something like this, a widespread soaking 1 inch of rain or so for our neck of the woods into about probably Thursday evening. Our forecast then for tonight, though, is scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms out there, non-severe. Look for low temperatures down near 58 and a north wind around 10 to 15 for tomorrow. All right, so mostly sunny. I went with 85 tomorrow. It's going to be a warm, muggy day with a north breeze around 10 to 15 throughout the afternoon. And then looking ahead here, 5-day forecast shows 85 tomorrow, 86 for Wednesday, and then clouding over, thunder showers on Thursday, 76, 77 for Friday, then even cooler for the weekend, partly cloudy skies and low 70s for Saturday and Sunday.
Alrighty, Jeff, thank you so much. And folks, stay with us. Sports is next.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
Higher shipping rates may be the cost of doing business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
When outdoors, some people like it hot and some people like it cold. However, when indoors, most people like it comfortably warm. Choose a Boderas boiler from McCusick Petroleum Company to provide you with comfortable and efficient heat. They also offer sales and service on many brands of furnaces, boilers, and water heaters. McCusick Petroleum Company delivers oil and LP gas to homes and businesses throughout the Pequot region. If you'd like more information on pricing or service, call or stop by our office in Dover Foxcroft.
About your accident. We know the amount seems low, but this is what your case is worth. Just click here. You called a lawyer. The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Call the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
You weren't gonna click that, were you?
Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream is open for business. Located 5 miles off exit 244 in Medway, you will find affordable prices on all of your favorites. We offer homemade pizza, mouth-watering cheeseburgers, lobster rolls, scallops, and the local favorite is our sweet sausage sub. We also have kid-friendly meals and offer fresh doughboys and ice cream year-round. Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream. Stop by for a delicious bite to eat, and dessert too.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
Gordon Ramsay and Lisa Vanderpump are searching for the next great food star.
You ready?
Born ready. Food Stars, all new Wednesdays on Fox.
Big night in the hockey world. The 2 greatest words in sports are Game 7. Welcome back in, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. The Panthers, looking for their first ever Stanley Cup, lead the Oilers 2-1 over on ABC. Moving on to the big news out of our hockey world. We knew the Bruins had a move to make this offseason. They have finally ripped the Band-Aid off and got it done. Linus Ullmark is on his way to Ottawa. Here are the details of the trade. The Bruins let go of just Ullmark and received 2 players and a draft pick from Ottawa in return. The Bees get Mark Kastelich. He's got 25 points in 144 games. He's minus 12 on the ice. They also get Jonas Korpisalo, who struggled last season, allowing over 3 goals a game and is on the hook for 26 losses. They also receive the 25th overall pick in this year's draft in return. Let's move on to the high school sports scene now. There was a pretty special event this Monday evening in Bangor celebrating all 3 seasons of high school and collegiate sports this past school year. 92.9 The Ticket hosted their first annual Ticket Awards show at Heroes Bar and Grill in Bangor. They honored Coaches of the Year, Players of the Year, and more, including a Champions Award that went to Maine women's basketball. It was the first of its kind, really, and organizer and founder Jim Churchill says it was a great way to put a bow on the season.
You know, the ESPYs have been around for a while, and we're like, hey, we've got a great area here for sports, as you know, and we just wanted to kind of celebrate the sports season. It is long and is a winding road through many different types of sports, and we wanted to celebrate that sports season, honor some great student athletes, coaches, fans, teams, yeah, just kind of put a bow on the whole athletic season.
There was a packed house at Heroes for the award ceremony, multiple hosts, and a ton of cool stuff going on. Athletes and coaches from all over the area were in attendance, and a celebration like this just shows the strength of the Maine sports community. All right, if you went a little bit south earlier, we had a beautiful day on Monday for some golf in Maine. The Maine Open kicking off at Augusta Country Club earlier in the morning. Over 120 golfers teeing it up under picture-perfect conditions. We're going to begin at the 16th hole. Thompson's Caleb Manuel, who just turned pro. Look at this incredible chip, and he's going to hole it out for an eagle on 16. Moving on, it's Sean Warren here with a nice chip. This is on hole 17, and that is going to get close enough to help him save his par. He would shoot just 1 over for his round in round 1. Dan Venezio with a long birdie attempt on 17. That's going to roll pretty well, but just stop a half an inch short. If that, he would settle for a nice, easy knock-in for par. Elliott Spaulding out of Freeport also had a terrific round. Here he is closing it out with a birdie putt on 18 and sinking it to finish 2 under. Caleb on 18 with another fantastic chip, too. He had the wedges working. That almost goes in. He would birdie the hole and finish 1 under. Here's what he had to say after round 1.
To get it under par, I think, was successful in the end. But yeah, just work on some wedges. My wedges were kind of not strong today, and they're normally, you know, my best part. So I'm just going to go work on that and then just come out, try to fire tomorrow.
That's not strong. I don't know what is. To the leaderboard we go. Caleb just outside of the top 10. Here is that leaderboard. Sean Boschdosh -9 for the day. He's your leader. Tied for second is Ryan Solano and Zachary Barbin at 6 under. Zane Thomas and Patrick Healy share a tie for 4th at 3 under. And then 8 golfers share a tie for 6th at 2 under. 3 of them amateurs from Maine: Jack Quinn, Elliott Spaulding, and Mick Madden. All right, let's talk some baseball now. When Maine baseball takes the field for Game 1 next spring, or even practice in the fall, they'll be doing so with a different right-hand man to Nick Durba. Durba's associate head coach Scott Heath is heading south to the University of Southern Maine, filling the vacant head coaching spot left by Ed Flaherty after he retired this year following 39 seasons at the helm. Heath is a native of Westbrook. He played 4 years with the Black Bears, having a terrific career too. He served as the pitching coach and recruiting coordinator since 2019, and last fall was promoted to associate head coach. Wishing him the best of luck. Staying on the baseball diamond now, it's been a great few weeks for the Boston Red Sox. They're coming back to Fenway after going 5-1 on a recent road trip, looking to keep it rolling against Toronto. Some special guests in the house for the game: Luke Cornett and Sam Hauser. They are repping Maine, the Sea Dogs and the Maine Celtics. The Celtics bringing the Larry O'Brien Trophy to Fenway for a celebration. They just keep that victory tour going. To the action now. Sox down 3-2 in the 7th, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. absolutely blasts this baseball into space. That would go 470 plus feet across the street over the monster, gives Toronto to a 6-2 lead, but don't count out the Sox. Jaron Duran on second, David Hamilton at the dish. He lifts this one to right field, and that is into the bleachers and gone, and the Red Sox are within 2. Next inning, bases loaded. Romy Gonzalez up, a line drive into left center. A good jump from Tyler O'Neill on second, and the Sox have tied this thing up. And who else but Jaron Duran at the plate with a runner on second, bottom of the 9th. He's going to line this one to right field. Ceddanne Rafaela gets a great jump off second. He comes around, that throws up the line, and he beats it. The Sox wipe off a 4-run deficit for their 10th win in their last 12 games. 7-6 is the final. And that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Dine on the deck with a delicious view at the Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub. Open Tuesday through Sunday. We are pet friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table. You'll love the tradition of the Lucerne Inn.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs, Iberogast helps relieve 6 digestive symptoms to help you feel better. 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature. Iberogast.
Someone needs to customize and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Wait, there's an elevator? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Van Sickle Kia, has the all-electric vehicle that takes you farther. Choose from the all-electric Kia Niro or all-wheel drive EV6 and the all-new EV9. And right now, lease the award-winning EV6 for just $389 a month. Go from Bangor to Providence in one trip. No stops. The future of choice is here at Van Sickle Kia. Lease the award-winning EV6 for just $389 a month. And best of all, every new Kia at Van Sickle comes with Kia's 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle. I guarantee it.
I've been with U.S. Cellular for 27 years. They've always taken care of me. But when they asked me to talk to you about their special customer event, Us Days, I said, I gotta get in shape. So they sent me this Hollywood trainer. Oh, this guy's no joke. Us Days means exclusive deals just for us customers.
Now let's try burpees.
Us Days is back at U.S. Cellular. Current customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet.
At Hood, our love for New England inspired New England Creamery. We make it with premium Hood milk and cream, then we overload it with the good stuff. Like Green Mountain Mint Chip with a rich, fudgy swirl. Maine Sweet Blueberry with real delicious blueberries. And Cape Cod Fudge Shop, packed with fudgy truffles. Hood's New England Creamery. From Hood, for New England. Try all 10 flavors.
Dine on the deck with a delicious view at the Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub. Open Tuesday through Sunday. We are pet friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table. You'll love the tradition of the Lucerne Inn.
Pictionary.
Coffee?
Coffee is correct. You know we have like another half hour. I'm gonna celebrate every time.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Heads up, coffee lovers. A new first-of-its-kind center is looking to bolster research around many Americans' favorite drink. Fox's Ted Lindner takes a closer look.
Hot or iced, sweetened or black. No matter how Americans take their favorite cup of joe, data from the National Coffee Association reveals U.S. adults consume more Java each day than any other type of drink.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
But researchers at the University of California, Davis say scientific studies centered around coffee are lacking compared to alcoholic beverages like wine.
What I'd like to convey is it's actually more difficult to make a good cup of coffee than it is to make a good bottle of wine. And when I say that to my wine colleagues, they get all riled up because they know how difficult it is to make wine. It turns out coffee is even more complicated.
To perk up the buzz, the school recently opened its new coffee center.
The nation's first academic facility dedicated to the science and art of coffee.
The sprawling facility features various labs and roasting rooms where students can conduct chemical engineering and other research.
We could control things like its acidity level. By doing research and looking at how these parameters change as you roast, we'll be able to predict what's going to happen if you roast a certain way.
All with the goal of helping advance the future of the coffee industry.
We're trying to elevate coffee and make it a a topic of academic research and an academic talent pipeline to help support the industry and help support what's arguably the world's most important beverage.
Going forward, the UC Davis Coffee Center aims to add a greenhouse so they can grow beans on campus. Faculty there also hopes the university will offer a degree in coffee science in the future. Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Long live coffee, that's what I have to say. Well, Soapbox Derby racing is still attracting spectators to northern Maine, and our Jody Hersey was there for the competition.
1, 2, 3.
Racers from all over Aroostook County went head-to-head on Derby Hill and Holton during the annual Northern Maine Soapbox Derby over the weekend. It's a tradition that began back in 1994.
The kids that are more relaxed do better because it's just like they have nothing to lose.
Participants ages 8 to 18 get sponsors, build their own cars, and then race in the stock, super stock, or master stock division in a double elimination. However, the Holton race hosted only the stock and super stock divisions, where the weight of the stock car and driver can't exceed 200 pounds or 240 pounds for those in the super stock division.
So every car is the same. We do a progressive wheel swap. So every car that goes down the hill will get a run in the first lane. Then on the second trip up the hill, we actually swap the tires, case if it's a wheel deal or, you know what I mean, for a car. Then we send them back up and they race in opposite lanes just to keep it fair.
The top 8 racers in each division earn trophies. Driver Aiden Sear says he follows a certain technique each race.
So if you scoot your butt back as far as you can, then you duck down really far, then that makes the car go faster.
16-year-old Superstock driver Addison Linz carries a good luck charm.
It's my lucky rag. I wax my car with it and I clean my tires with it every single time I get to the top of the hill.
Soapbox Derby organizers say that these racers can hit speeds up to 35 miles per hour as they come down the hill.
We've had the police come out and they've radar ran us and everything, and it was 32 to 35 miles an hour.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Winners get the chance to advance to the International Soapbox Derby in Akron, Ohio in July, where they can compete for scholarships. In Holton, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, both drivers you saw in that story, Aiden Sear and Addison Linz, who both live in Holton, won their divisions and will be heading to Ohio next month to compete in the International Soapbox Derby races. Best of luck to them. And the Northern Maine Soapbox Derby is run by dozens of volunteers, many of whom are former drivers. 17-year-old Lily Henderson, also of Holton, has gotten behind the wheel of Soapbox Derby cars in both Holton, Maine, and Akron, Ohio in years past. She says being invited to race in the Master Stock division in 2024 New Hampshire Local Championship earlier this month was an opportunity she couldn't pass up.
My first race down there was just a rally race, and I did pretty good. My second race down there was the local race in New Hampshire. I placed second, and I got a sportsmanship award.
Unlike the stock and super stock derby cars, where racers are in a seated position, drivers in the master stock division actually lay down in their cars as they fly down the hill. That sounds amazing. Well, congratulations to all the racers and best of luck to those who are moving on to higher levels of competition, that is for sure. Alrighty, folks, that is going to do it for us from everyone here at Fox 22 News. Take care and have a great rest of your night. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow again at 6:30 and 10. Good night, everybody.
This summer,
I'm sweating.
the competition is heating up.
Welcome to 25 Words or Less.
Every weekday
on Fox 22.
Feeling from a backed up gut? Miralax works naturally with the water in your body to help you go. Free your gut and your mood will follow. For 8 grams of fiber, try Mirror Fiber Gummies.
When the Coach House Restaurant wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. The Coach House Restaurant, family dining at its best with fine home-cooked meals, delicious homemade desserts, and a large menu of tasty offerings for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Had enough of long lines, empty shelves, and overcrowded megastores? Discover Parody Shop and Save in Brewer, your local culinary oasis in the North Brewer Shopping Center. Revel in fresh produce, pantry must-haves, organic delights, and Aroostook County's beloved products. All affordable and high quality. Can't find an item? We'll special order it. Shop with us today and feel the difference of our family-run, community-focused grocery experience.
I'm Richard Karn, and I love my hose. It ain't those old hoses. This is my hose. The new Pocket Hose Copper Bullet, now infused with real copper, so your water is always clean and lead-free. Just turn on the water and watch your hose grow and grow. And when you turn off the water, away it goes. Our new inner tube uses 3 layers of high-strength latex on the inside. Then it's wrapped in a new polymer filament jacket, 3 times stronger than the other hoses. But my favorite part of our new hose build? The oversized, easy-to-grip fittings. Get the super light 25-foot Pocket Hose Copper Bullet today for only $29.99. But wait, call now and get our copper spray nozzle with our exclusive thumb drive free. This is an exclusive release of our newest Pocket Hose. Order now.
Call 1-800-960-2342. That's 1-800-960-2342 or visit copperbullet.hose.com. Order now.
You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.